Senators battered the CEO of 5 major tech companies with accusations that they did not stem a rising tide of child sexual abuse on their platforms during a contentious hearing Wednesday. Likening the companies to Big Tobacco and the embattled plane manufacturer Boeing, the lawmakers evoked the stories of online child abuse victims, many of whom sat directly behind the tech leaders. They issue a rebuke to Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg and other executives. "You have blood on your hands," said Senator Lindsey Graham. Zuckerberg responded to the onslaught of grief by rising from his chair in an extraordinary moment to apologize after pressure from Senator Josh Hawley to admit Meta's wrongdoing. "I'm sorry for everything you all have been through. No one should have to go through the things your family have suffered." The tense exchange punctuated an unusually potent session spanning nearly 4 hours as TikTok's Xiao Shichu, X's Linda Yakuro, Snap's Evan Spiegel, and Discord's Jason Citron. Oh, Discord's there too. Dog, I don't want to hear Ted Cruz talking about like... So when this guy slided up into the Discord, DMs, and he posted this image referred to as the Poog? The Poog, I think? The Hog face. I don't want that. I'm not interested at all. But I am interested in watching them yell at Mark Zuckerberg. There's been so much talk of these hearings of popcorn throwing the like. I just want to get this stuff done. I'm so tired of this. Child sex images and videos are more widely available than ever, according to data from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, a nonprofit that tracks such material for the U.S. government. The organization said reports of the content on online platforms grew from 32 million in 2022 to a record high of 36 million in 2023, and found a persistent foothold on major tech platforms like Facebook, despite years of efforts to eliminate it. Senators convened the hearing, focused on child sexual abuse material, amid a groundswell of support for stronger protections to protect children from becoming exposed to harmful content online or addicted to major platforms. But the session did little to shed light on how the proposals under discussion could get signed into law in the near term. So, to be clear, a lot of this is just like performative nonsense, right? A lot of it is performative nonsense. And there's a lot of the senators are just going to go there, do the camera shot, and be done with it. And they're not going to push legislation, especially with the Congress that we're in right now, with compromise being very difficult. But you can still watch the performative. Now, hopefully it does turn into something, but it's going to be a problem with how Congress is divided right now. But hopefully that is something they can get some bipartisan compromise on. Because, hey, Look, it's already bad enough to say you don't want to find a compromise to try to deal with the undocumented immigration as a Republican. But if you say you don't want to find a compromise to deal with child images of a disgusting nature, yeah, no, I don't think that's defensible. So hopefully we will see some, at least as the tension will hopefully put pressure on Congress to do something. Let's watch Zuckerberg apologize to the family and get pressured by Josh Hawley. Actually, first, I think we should do the Ted Cruz, then Josh Hawley. Because I think the stand-up should be kind of like the end, be like the ending exclamation point.
Social media is a very powerful tool, but we're here because every parent I know, and I think every parent in America, is terrified about the garbage that is directed at our kids. I have 2 teenagers at home, and the phones they have are portals to predators, to viciousness, to bullying, to self-harm. And each of your companies could do a lot more to prevent it. Mr. Zuckerberg, in June of 2023, the Wall Street Journal reported that Instagram's recommendation systems were actively connecting pedophiles to accounts that were advertising the sale of child sexual abuse material.
Jesus.
In many cases, those accounts appeared to be run by underage children themselves, often using code words and emojis to advertise illicit material. In other cases, the accounts included indicia that the victim was being sex trafficked. Now, I know that Instagram has a team that works to prevent the abuse and exploitation of children online. But what was particularly concerning about the Wall Street Journal expose was the degree to which Instagram's own algorithm was promoting the discoverability of victims for pedophiles seeking child abuse material.
Damn.
In other words, this material wasn't just living on the dark corners of Instagram. Instagram was helping pedophiles find it by promoting graphic hashtags, including hashtag pedwhore and hashtag preteen sex to potential buyers. Instagram also displayed the following warning screen to individuals who were searching for child abuse material. These results may contain images of child sexual abuse. And then you gave users two choices: get resources or see results anyway.
That's fucking damning. I mean, look, Ted Cruz is a mess. Ted Cruz is a mess, but there's no way anyone could mess up this interrogation. There's no way to pivot that. There's no way to repackage that. There's no way to think if there is a if the algorithm has picked up that it could be that image, what's the problem with at least locking it for like a few days to find out if it is or not? I think that maybe there's a concern that people could abuse the system to go after accounts they don't like. But if the algorithm itself has picked this up, or if the system has picked up it might be, I think it's worth it. Is this a question of staffing, that you don't have enough people to check it all? So you just, in order to not have the system abused, you just kind of leave it there until somebody does check it and you put this message up? How is he going to respond to this?
Mr. Zuckerberg, what the hell were you thinking?
All right, Senator. The basic science behind that is that when people are searching for something that is problematic, it's often helpful to, rather than just blocking it, to help direct them towards something that that could be helpful for getting them to get help.
In what, I understand get resources. In what sane universe is there a link for see results anyway?
Well, because we might be wrong. We try to trigger this warning, or we tried to, when we think that there's any chance that the results.
Okay, you might be wrong. Let me ask you, how many times was this warning screen displayed?
I don't know, but the
you don't know. Why don't you know?
They see, that's unfair. I don't know how anyone would have that number exactly on hand. And this is the problem with these hearings, is like right now, Ted's on an actual roll. I've never seen Ted actually like get someone before, right? But then immediately, instead of just staying on this fair path to get an actual, like, to show people the real problem with what's going on, you ask him to have like, oh, 1,287. Why would he have that number on hand? Maybe he can get that number for you. I don't even know if they track that. Do they track that? But even if they do track that, why would he have that number on hand? Now people are saying, oh, he's bungling this. Now, whether or not this would be bungled in people who are like semi-fair when they're looking at conversations and say, oh, that's not fair to have. But if you're like an elderly grandma, you might not, and don't understand, like, that might not be on, or you don't understand the internet. Maybe you don't know. Point is, though, it's not fair. That's not a fair question. Like, you like, it could be, or when he doesn't know, you could say, can you get that data to me? That'd be the follow-up. Now, not why don't you know? But does he have it written on his hand? I think he updates it every day.
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. But
well, you know what, Mr. Zuckerberg? It's interesting you say you don't know it off the top of your head, because I asked it in June of 2023 in an oversight letter, and your company refused to answer. Will you commit right now to...
Well, see, that's a little better, but still, he wouldn't know it right now off the top of his head.
In 5 days, answering this question for...
See, this was a better way. This is a better way of going about it, but you still shouldn't be that shocked that he doesn't know.
This committee.
We'll follow up on that.
Is that a yes? Not a will follow up. I know how lawyers write statements saying we're not going to answer. Will you tell us how many times this warning screen was displayed? Yes.
That was fair, because the will follow up is a...
Yes or no?
But it's also, maybe they don't track it. I don't even know do they track that? I would have no idea.
Senator, I'll personally look into it. I'm not sure if we have.
Okay, so you're refusing to answer that. Let me ask you this.
No, he's not saying he's refusing. He's not refusing.
Strange Payment
It is getting unfair.
Has
Fucking
donated
Ted
$10.
Cruz.
Imagine telling Martin Luther that it would be the Protestants who would end up being the grifters and lying scumbags while we Catholics now have a based and progressive pope.
Hey, no, hey, I'm not letting you. Hey, look, okay? I come from the snake charming lineage, okay? We're the real based ones. Okay, we put it on the line. We put it on the line. I've never seen the Catholics handle snakes before. I also never seen a Catholic die from a snake bite before, but still. Anyway. This is just completely unfair. He did answer the question, and it's the exact concern I brought up. I don't even know if they track that information. But it's not a non-answer. He answered, it's just they don't have the information, because they probably don't track it. Like, for example, if I asked Elon Musk, how many times have people bookmarked tweets related to, politics specifically? Or if I asked some, random numbers question like that, I don't know if they track that. Maybe they could find it, maybe they don't. I don't know.
How many times did an Instagram user who got this warning that you're seeing images of child sexual abuse, how many times did that user click on see results anyway? I want to see that.
If he doesn't know the answer to the first question, he's not going to know an answer to this question either.
Senator, I'm not sure if we stored that, but I'll personally look into this and we'll follow up after.
And what follow-up did Instagram do when you have a potential pedophile clicking on, I'd like to see child porn? What did you do next when that happened?
Senator, I think that an important piece of context here is that any context that we think is child sexual
Mr. Zuckerberg,
abuse,
that's called a question. What did you do next?
Let him finish his answer at least, and then you can follow up. See, this is the thing. On one hand, I don't like Mark Zuckerberg very much. I think that all these companies do have a responsibility to do this. I think this hearing is necessary. I just don't want it to become a clown show where you're asking questions that he wouldn't have the answers to, and you just keep, he wouldn't have the answer to it, instead of concentrating on, because he's the first half of this was perfect from Ted, actually. And now we're just getting stuck in minutia, and it's why.
When someone clicked, you may be getting child sexual abuse images, and they click.
I think a lot of it is just so he can repeat this over and over, which I understand, but he could still repeat it while asking useful questions.
See results anyway. What was your next step? You said you might be wrong. Did anyone examine, was it in fact child sexual abuse material? Did anyone report that user? Did anyone go and try to protect that child? What did you do next?
Senator, we take down anything that we think is sexual abuse material on the service, and we do.
Did anyone verify whether it was in fact child sexual abuse?
But if you take down anything you think is, does that mean you do this until somebody can go and check and then take it down?
Material.
Senator, I don't know if every single search result.
Because I'm actually trying to figure out how their policy works so we can recommend policy changes. But because of how the dynamics go and how they're performing for the camera, it's hard for me to figure it out.
Or following up on, but
did you report the people who wanted it?
Senator, do you want me to answer your question?
Yeah, I want you to answer the question I'm asking. Did you report the people who clicked see results anyway?
Has donated $5. Did you see the Vice video where they had on a Facebook content moderator? That website is all sorts of fucked. It's just slightly hidden.
Oh no, there's tons of dude. I don't. It's bad on Twitter as well. It's bad on other platforms as well. But yeah, no, it's really bad on Facebook. It's really bad on Facebook. I don't use Facebook. I have Facebook for if I need to contact family members, because sometimes you can't get a phone signal, but you have internet, something like that. But besides that, I don't use it.
That's probably one of the factors that we use in reporting. And in general, we've reported more people and done more reports like this to NCMEC, the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, than any other company in the industry. We proactively go out of our way across our services to do this, and have made, I think it's more than 26 million reports, which is more than the whole rest of the industry combined. So,
Mr. Zuckerberg,
yeah, but that also, on one hand, that's good. But if I said, hey, in my school, I've captured over 100 school shooters, more than any other school in the country. At a certain point, you got to be like, why so many school shooters? Why so many school shooters in this specific school? I think part of the reason that they can make so many reports is probably because Facebook, on average, probably used quite frequently.
Your company and every social media company needs to do much more to protect children. All right, Mr. Chu, next couple of minutes.
Okay, so I do want to move on to the Josh Hawley back and forth right here. And then afterwards, I want to check out the last back and forth that was, I think it was Josh Hawley and the head of TikTok, who's from Singapore, and they just kept asking him if he was Chinese in different ways. It was very, like, after the first 1 or 2 questions, it got very strange.
We're going to keep talking about this.
Like, the first time, like, he says the first time, he's like, okay, get it. Second time, I was like, okay. But it was like 3rd, 4th, 5th, and at a certain point, you're just kind of confused as to why they keep asking.
It is a very busy day on Capitol Hill. Going to go back to the hearing where Josh Hawley, Republican of Missouri, is questioning Mark Zuckerberg.
In the last 7 days. Now, I know you're familiar with these stats because he sent you an email where he lined it all out. I mean, we've got a copy of it right here. My question is, who did you fire for this? Who got fired because of that?
Senator, we study all of this because it's important and we want to improve our services.
Well, you just told me a second ago that you studied it, that there was no linkage. Who did you fire?
Yeah, I said you mischaracterized.
37% of teenage girls between 13 and 15 were exposed to unwanted nudity in a week on Instagram. You knew about it. Who did you fire?
Senator, this is why we're building all.
Who did you fire?
Tools. Senator, I don't think that's.
Who did you fire?
I'm not going to answer that.
Because you didn't fire anybody, right? You didn't take any significant action.
It's appropriate to talk about like
it's not appropriate.
HR decisions.
Do you know who's sitting behind you? You've got families from across the nation whose children are either severely harmed or gone, and you don't think it's appropriate to talk about steps that you took? The fact that you didn't fire a single person? Let me ask you this. Have you compensated any of the victims?
Sorry?
Have you compensated any of the victims? These girls, have you compensated them?
I don't believe so.
Why not? Don't you think they deserve some compensation for what your platform has done? Help Senator, with counseling services, help with dealing with the issues that your services cause?
Our job is to make sure that we build.
Hawley is a good spin master, man. Dude, I don't like Hawley. I think his politics is awful. I also think he's kind of cowardly, and J6 kind of showed that. The fist pump and running through the halls. But he is a spin master. Yeah, he certainly is.
Tools to help keep people safe.
Are you going to compensate them?
Senator, our job and what we take seriously is making sure that we build industry-leading tools to find harmful content,
make money,
take it off the services,
to make money,
and to build tools that empower parents.
Josh Hawley just discovered capitalism. I'm sorry, continuing.
Parents.
So you didn't take any action. You didn't take any action. You didn't fire anybody. You haven't compensated a single victim. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims? Would you like to do so now?
Well,
they're here. You're on national television. Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures. Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these good people?
So this is just the bully Mark Zuckerberg conference? Is that what this is? So the idea is that there's people in the audience who have had people who were harmed by the content posted. Either because they were exposed to unwanted sexual advances, or they had family members who have hurt themselves due to bullying online and ended up killing themselves. People who have been hurt by like social media, I don't know how to call it because it's a very wide net we're talking about now, because we're talking about bullying, we're talking about unwanted sexual images, we're talking about horrible things to children. So it's a wide net, but people who feel that they've been done bad either because their daughter was killed themselves due to the bullying they faced online. That's the crowd that's behind Zucker that he's talking to right
now. No one should have to go through the things that your families have suffered. And this is why we invested so much and are going to continue doing industry-leading efforts to make sure that no one has to go through the types of things that your families have had to suffer.
You know,
so he said that he apologized, and he said that they're trying to make the investments necessary to make the changes so your families, so other families don't have to suffer the same thing that your family. That seemed to be his answer. It was very low. The audio was bad because like mics aren't hooked up when he turned around.
Why, Mr. Zuckerberg, why should your company not be sued for this? Why is it that you can claim, you hide behind a liability shield, you can't be held accountable? Shouldn't you be held accountable personally? Will you take personal responsibility?
I don't know how you're going to find him legally responsible for bullying that happened on the platform. Can you, if then a child ends their own life, can you hold them legally responsible or financially responsible? I don't think so. Whether they're morally responsible is a different question.
Senator, I think I've already answered this. I mean, these.
We'll try this again. Will you take personal responsibility?
Senator, I view my job and the job of our company as building the best tools that we can to keep our community safe.
Well, you're failing at that.
If I told somebody if I went on social media and there was like Hoon Lover 92 and I said go taste a gun barrel and then he actually did it, would then Twitter be liable for that? How would Twitter be able to pick it up? All I'm saying is I don't think they're going to be able to find him financially or legally liable for cyberbullying. Morally, maybe. If they pass new laws, like that's the whole point of this committee, maybe.
Well, Senator,
but they would have to craft those laws to not contradict with the First Amendment, which might be difficult.
Doing an industry-leading effort. We build AI tools
nonsense. Your product is killing people. Will you personally commit to compensating the victims? You're a billionaire. Will you commit to compensating the victims? Will you set up a compensation fund with your money?
The reason why Zuckerberg's not going to commit to setting up a compensation fund is if he agrees to set up a compensation fund, then that sets up a standard that people would try to hold him to going forward. And that means anytime anyone is harmed by anything they see on Facebook, because either somebody told them that they were fat and then they hurt themselves or whatever it was, then maybe he's held liable. And I don't think he wants to set that standard.
These are
with your money.
Senator, these are complicated
issues. No, that's not a complicated question, though. That's Senator, a yes or no. Will you set up a victims' compensation fund with your money, the money you made on these families sitting behind you? Yes or no?
Senator, I don't think that's my job is to
Sounds
make sure
like a no.
Good tools. My
Sounds
job
like a
is
no.
to make sure that
your job is to be responsible for what your company has done. You've made billions of dollars on the people sitting behind them. Are you here? You've done nothing to help them. You've done nothing to compensate them. You've done nothing to put it right. You could do so here today, and you should. You should, Mr. Zuckerberg. Before my time expires, Mr. Chu, let me just ask you, your platform.
Oh boy, over to TikTok.
Why should your platform not be banned in the United States of America?
Oh my God. Oh, dude, can somebody, I gotta find the link. Okay, while he's going back with this guy, I gotta find the link where he's just asking him for like 2 minutes if he's Chinese. 1 second.
You are owned by a Chinese communist company.
When I say you're Chinese, I mean him individually, not TikTok is ties to this Chinese company, but he is individually Chinese.
In China.
He's from Singapore, by the way.
The editor-in-chief of your parent company is a Communist Party secretary. Your company has been surveilling Americans for years. According to leaked audio from more than 80 internal TikTok meetings, China-based employees of your company have repeatedly accessed non-public data of United States citizens. Your company has tracked journalists improperly gaining access to their IP addresses, user data, in an attempt to identify whether they're writing negative stories about you. Why should your platform is basically an espionage arm for the Chinese Communist Party? Why should you not be banned in the United States of America?
Senator, I disagree with your characterization. Many of what you have said, we have explained in a lot of detail. TikTok is used by 170 million Americans.
I know, and every single one of those Americans are in danger from the fact that you track their keystrokes.
This is why I don't like these hearings. I understand that they're supposed to be able to apply pressure, but I wish there was like some rule where when a question is asked, they for at least a 20 to 30 second time period, they can answer the question. There's some sort of rule for that. Something to make it so the witnesses are allowed to at least behave like a witness and testify. I understand that they're asking certain questions that they want answers to, but if it's just going to be performative, then it defeats the whole purpose. And you might as well just, I don't know, go host a circus outside the Capitol, not in it.
Track their app usage, you track their location data, and we know that all of that information can be accessed by Chinese.
By the way, it's not hard to grill somebody, but do it effectively. Being like, okay, you said that, like, let them answer and say, oh, let me follow up. You said this, it's wrong here, here, and here. Why did you tell me that's wrong when I have evidence of it right here? You could still pressure them while staying on the topic. You can still pressure them and allow them to answer. If anything, if you allow people to answer and they don't got a good answer and they just kind of struggle around, a lot of politicians need to understand the power of silence, of just of throwing something out at them like a question they can't answer and just letting them struggle. So seeing that your claim is not just, oh, you've made a claim, but also they're struggling in dealing with said claim. But if you interrupt them before they can answer or screw up their answer, then people can just say, like I did, like, you didn't let him answer. Maybe he had a good answer. I don't know. It's not like I particularly trust Josh Hawley's interpretation of any event.
Employees who are subject to the dictates of the Chinese Communist Party. Why should you not be banned in this country?
Senator, that is not accurate. A lot of what you describe we collect, we don't.
It is 100% accurate. Do you deny that repeatedly Americans' data has been accessed by ByteDance employees in China?
We built a project that cost us billions of dollars to stop that, and we have made a lot of progress.
And so that did happen. Ooh, that is not good.
It hasn't been stopped, according to the Wall Street Journal report from just yesterday. Even now, ByteDance workers, without going through official channels, have access to the private information of American citizens. I'm quoting from the article, private information of American citizens, including their birth date, their IP address, and more. That's now.
Senator, as we know, the media doesn't always get it right. What we have.
But the Chinese Communist Party does?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we've spent billions of dollars to build this project. It's rigorous, it's robust, it's unprecedented, and I'm proud of the work that the 2,000 employees are doing to protect the data.
But it's not protected. That's the problem, Mr. Chu. It's not protected at all. It's subject to Communist Chinese Party inspection and review. Your app, unlike anybody else sitting here, and heaven knows I've got problems with everybody here, but your app, unlike any of those, is subject to the control and inspection of a foreign hostile government that has actively trying to track the information of whereabouts of every American that they get their hands on. Your app ought to be banned in the United States of America for the security of this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hirono.
See, like, I didn't get anything out of that. Like, all I got out of it is that ByteDance employees, and this is bad, have accessed user data in mainland China. That right there, bad enough. But just let them. A lot of these politicians are dumb, man. Their propaganda could be so much better. And we'd also probably have a much more productive country if they just let them squirm. Now, the only reason that would motivate me not to let someone squirm around is if in the process of squirming around, when asking a difficult question, they could actually have a response that could either deflect that could make my question not work. For example, if I'm like, why didn't you pay said employee? And they're about to say, I did. Then I stop them before saying that and then say, I revoke my time. Number one, it's not productive. Nobody learns anything. And all that happens is a steamroll. But it would be even better if he could prove that they're squirming around. See, if he just allowed him to keep talking about the Wall Street Journal, then Josh Hawley could have just ended this by saying, so you're telling me that we should choose your company, which we know that ByteDance employees have access to data of their users before this. We know it. And you know it. And you want us to choose you over the journalist, the American journalist who covered that today? He could have spinned it much better. But, you know, you gotta be tough in every moment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we've heard, children face all sorts of dangers when they use social media, from mental health harm.
As we continue to.
So I want to look at the 1 second. I want to look at. Where is it? Oh, I could have sworn I had it. Here it is.
They then had a lawsuit and it was overturned. I can't remember the details.
It's another company. Biden administration that reversed those sanctions, just like, by the way, they reversed the terrorist designation on the Houthis in Yemen. How's that working out for them? But it was sanctioned.
Well, the Houthi designation was revoked for humanitarian reasons because that meant NGOs couldn't work on the ground. They've now reimposed it in order to increase their leverage. For those of you interested, you can still disagree with it either being reimposed or being removed, but there's the context. It's being used as a tool of leverage in negotiations. It's like, or in an attempt to dissuade them from attacking the Red Sea.
As a Chinese communist military company. So you said today, as you often say, that you live in Singapore. Of what nation are you a citizen?
Singapore.
Are you a citizen of any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever applied for Chinese citizenship?
Senator, I served my nation in Singapore. No, I did not.
Do you have a Singaporean passport?
Yes, and I served my military for two and a half years in Singapore.
Do you have any other passports from any other nations?
No, Senator.
Your wife is an American citizen. Your children are American citizens.
That's correct.
Have you ever applied for American citizenship?
No, not yet.
Okay. Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, I'm Singaporean. No.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, I'm Singaporean.
Let me ask you some hopefully simple questions. You said earlier...
Are you Chinese? Let me try this again. Are you Chinese? Let me try this again. Are you Chinese? It's how many different ways is he gonna? Well, I think he hammered that home. You got his answer on the record for sure. He ain't Chinese. He's Singaporean. I'm gonna remember that for sure.
Response to your question that what happened at Tiananmen Square in June of 1989.
Was he hoping he'd just slip up and be like, ah? He's like on the third time he'd say, ah, damn, I forgot. Yeah, I am a Communist Party member.
What happened at Tiananmen Square in...
Oh, he's gonna ask him about Tiananmen Square. Let's check it out.
Let me ask you some hopefully simple questions. You said earlier in response to your question that what happened at Tiananmen Square in June of 1989 was a massive protest. Did anything else happen in Tiananmen Square?
Yes, I think it's well documented. There was a massacre.
There was the indiscriminate slaughter of hundreds or thousands of Chinese citizens. Do you agree with the Trump administration and the Biden administration?
God, I'm sorry. Can I just say, on one level, right? And this is Tom Cotton, right? This isn't Josh Hawley. So Cotton is much worse at this than Hawley was. Hawley's grilling of him was much better than Cotton's. Hawley's at least stayed in the universe of something policy related. And what I mean by that, it's like an asteroid in the distance, right? But it still at least tied it back to those ByteDance employees accessing user data. That's a privacy concern. I care about consumer privacy rights. I care about consumer rights. I care about privacy. So I can at least find some connection here. This is just this guy saying, so are you Chinese? Chinese? What's that? Wait. You know what this is? You know what this is? Oh my God. I can't believe I forgot about this fantastic moment and it didn't come to me until now. I can't believe I forgot this fantastic moment.
So are you Chinese or Japanese?
I live in California last 20 years, but first come from Laos.
Huh?
Laos. We lay ocean.
The ocean? What ocean?
We are lay ocean. From Laos, stupid. It's a landlocked country in Southeast Asia. It's between Vietnam and Thailand, okay? Population 4.7 million.
So are you Chinese or Japanese?
Oh.
God, I love King of the Hill. I used to love watching with my grandfather growing up.
That the Chinese government is committing genocide against the Uyghur people.
Senator, I've said this before. I think it's really important that anyone who cares about this topic or any topic can freely express themselves on TikTok.
It's a very simple question that unites both parties in our country and governments around the world. Is the Chinese government committing genocide against the Uyghur people?
Senator, anyone, including, you can come into TikTok and talk about this topic
I'm asking you,
or any topic that matters.
Oh, he doesn't want to answer that one, though. I don't know if he knows anything about it, though. I actually don't know.
Worldly cosmopolitan.
Because I don't know if why would he acknowledge the Tiananmen Square massacre, but then not acknowledge Uyghurs being put in camps? I don't know. That wouldn't make any sense to me.
Well-educated man who's expressed many opinions on many topics. Is the Chinese government committing genocide against the Uyghur people?
Actually, Senator, I talk mainly about my company, and I'm here to talk about what TikTok does.
He doesn't want to answer.
Yes or no? You're here. You're here.
It took a while for Tom Cotton to finally catch anything there.
To give testimony that's truthful and honest and complete. Let me ask you this. Joe Biden last year said that Xi Jinping was a dictator. Do you agree with Joe Biden? Is Xi Jinping a dictator?
Senator, I'm not going to comment on any world leaders.
What?
Yeah, no, he's the head of a company. He doesn't want to. I think maybe he did the math like, okay, if I say the massacre happened, that's fine. We know that's historical record. That's undeniable. Oh, an active, ongoing policy? And I don't think he wanted to answer. Because, I mean, TikTok still tracks back to Beijing.